While others are sounding the alarm about the Equality Act and its possible harm to religious freedom. An editorial today in the Washington Examiner says in part, quote, "No bill that disenfranchises women and strips citizens of legal protection in the exercise of their faith can seriously claim to advance equality or justice. It is shameful that this bill was ever drafted." Joining us now is Andrea Picciotti-Bayer, director of the Conscious Project. Andrea, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Talk to us more about this bill. How exactly does it threaten religious freedom?
Well, Tracy, thank you for having me on. It's always great to be with you. Last Thursday, the House passed the Equality Act, and it is sweeping legislation, and it has over 50 substantive changes to longstanding federal law, and including the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It inserts sexual orientation and gender identity into some of these very important civil rights laws. And as well as you mentioned, it strips religious freedom protections from the legislation by specifically saying that the Religious Freedom Restoration Act doesn't apply as a defense to this law.
What are some of the other big concerns about this bill? What concerns you?
Well, I've been paying attention. I listened to the debate on the floor of the House, and I think I'd point people to look at some of the great stuff that's been written and spoken by scholars like Ryan Anderson and Mary Hassan, who's the director of the Catholic Women's Forum. They speak that the Equality Act has the effect of taking away the privacy, security, and opportunity for women and girls, and basically would destroy or erase the notion of being female. Now, Andrea Picciotti also speaks on an issue that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops had highlighted, that the Equality Act might get abortion in through the back door and could be used to justify federal funding for abortion as well. So those are concerns to me as a Catholic, but a big concern is the hostility that I heard in the debate against people of faith and against religious freedom, and seeing that this is somehow something used to harm people instead of to lift people up.
And Andrea, historically speaking, has a bill like this ever been introduced? And do you think the Equality Act will pass and eventually become law?
That's a great question, Tracy. In 2019, the Equality Act actually passed the House. Things have changed. Obviously, there's a new administration in the White House, but the Senate needs to have 60 votes in the Senate in order to make this law. And I don't think that the numbers are there. There is a concern, though, that the Biden administration's support for the Equality Act could find a form in the form of executive orders and administrative rules. So some of these problematic aspects could find their way in through the executive branch. And that's where the judiciary, hopefully, is going to be a safeguard for reason, common sense, and for religious freedom.
Yeah, we hope so for sure. Well, Andrea, thank you so much for coming on. We always appreciate your insights.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks, Tracy.